What's up, people? Let's get this in. What's up, Mark? Let's get this sorted. General questions with Mark. Thank you for joining me, bro. Ice Cream 6000, how you doing? Welcome. 21 questions. Hey. Today was sunny for real. We're going to just give it 5 minutes, let people come in. How was your day? If you don't know by now, 21 questions, this is it. I am your host, IC. I go by the name of IC, if you do not know. Bree, let me know, am I crystal clear? Sit down member. Thank you for joining us. 21 questions. This is on behalf of the Sit Down platform. I am your host, IC. I was blind, but now I see. And this is our Insta Live platform where we ask our guests 21 questions, as many questions as we can within the hour. They get one pass card. And if they don't skip that pass card, if they do not use that pass card, they win a prize at the end. All right. Make sure, if you want to check all the other episodes that we've been doing, make sure you do it through the link in our bio. Okay. The link in our bio is going to lead you to the place, the promised land. We've done up to 10 episodes. Last week we had ZZ Mills, and we've got it all uploaded on our YouTube, IGTV, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Everything you can find through the link in our bio. Big up Slider Carts Mark McIver joining us today. Going to be a nice conversation, man. Really have so much respect for this guy. But without further ado, we're just going to get into it, man. Why wait? Let's get it. Oh, gosh. How you doing, sir?
What's going on? You right?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We're just getting the people in. You said you need a haircut. Hold on, I need to make sure you said that correctly. You said you need a haircut?
Yeah, I do definitely need a haircut. I know.
I don't know what to make of that. You're saying you need a haircut. Oh, you're breaking up a bit. Yeah, break up.
Yeah. You can hear me now? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, good now. You're good. How you been, man?
I'm good. I'm well. I'm good.
You're getting ready for the 4th.
Yeah, I'm hot. I'm loads of phone calls. Inundated with loads of phone calls.
I can imagine. Oh my days.
Yeah. I'm just not picking up, to be honest. I'm just not picking up.
Is there anyone that you would pick up for?
Yeah, my brother.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And they don't need a trim. But thank you for joining us for 21 questions, man. I've been a fan of yours from day dot, just seeing how you've just kind of maneuvered in your particular space. And I'm just inspired, man. You inspire me, man. You really, really inspire me as a black man from our community, doing amazing things. And I really just wanted to unpack that in your 21 questions. You have 21 questions. You only have one pass card. Okay.
All right, cool.
So that means that if you don't want to answer the question, you can use that pass card and skip that question. Okay. But If you do use that pass card, you don't get your prize.
Cool. I doubt well, I don't know what questions they are. I'm about to say I doubt I would pass anyway, but I don't know what the questions are.
And you said you need a haircut, so what I've got, this is your prize. So this might be
Yeah.
a good one.
Definitely
And I can't believe Mr. Slider Cuts is saying he needs. But you cut yourself, don't you?
Yeah, but you know what? I've been that busy.
Wow.
I've had no time to cut myself.
That is real busy. That is real busy. Well, guys, welcome to everyone that's joining us. This is 21 Questions. I am your host. I see. I was blind, but now I see. And this is on behalf of the Sit Down platform. This is our Insta live series where we get guests on, ask them a range of questions within an hour and the allotted time. And they have one pass card. If they use that pass card, they don't get their prize. If he skips that pass card and doesn't use it, he will get his prize. Big up our sponsors, Proper Corn, the best popcorn in the world. And if you're watching this for the first time, at the end, we're going to ask you to give your feedback. So there's a link in the bio. And I want you to, as you're going through today's session, keep in mind if there's anything that you felt was good about it or things we could improve, there's a link in the bio. Shout out to my barbers. Shout out Ernie. Shout out Diallo. They're my people. And when we get off this and we open up our shops, I need your help, brothers, because my hair is mad. My hair is mad. All right, we're going to get it cracking. So we have something in common. We both, at a young age, shaved our heads in a bid to cut our hair. And I tried it. All I tried to do was a line in my head. That's all I wanted to do. And I made one mistake. And I tried to correct the mistake. And I tried to correct that mistake. And then I just had to shave it all off. And I remember going into school the next day. I think I just wore a hat. I wore a hat for about 2 weeks because I just couldn't live it down. Tell me about how, in the beginning for you, cutting your hair has kind of helped you. What did you learn from that early stage of learning to cut your hair and just being a student of the game?
Learning to cut my hair. Me cutting my own hair was kind of like the start of my actual career. So if that wasn't there, then, I don't know if Slider Cuts would be here today. So it's funny because obviously I started cutting my own hair due to, I had an interest in hair anyway, but due to not having any money or not being given, not having any money to go to the barbershop. So my mom's cutting my hair, my older brother's cutting my hair. My mom would just board off my head. My older brothers would give me like a level 3 all around, never looking like I had a haircut. So I was like, you know what, I want to fade like everybody else. So picked up the clippers, tried, messed myself up, had to cut it off, but still never had no money to go to the barbershop. So next haircut, same thing, messed myself up. Next haircut, same thing, messed myself up. But each time I was getting better and little things were getting better. So, it was good. The lack, having no money gave me this career.
Would you say barbering in itself, is it an art, or can anyone, if they put their hand to it and practice, can they do it? Or do you need to just be skilled and gifted at doing it?
No, I think anybody can do it if you put your heart in it and you really train for it. Anyone can do it. To what level, I'm not sure, but I do believe this isn't like, anybody can do it. It's just like anybody can do anything technically. It's just about to what level. You know, everyone has a potential, so you can, go out there and run. But your fastest might be 12 seconds.
Exactly.
Whereas Usain Bolt's is 9 seconds. So, but if you train hard and you work hard, you can cut hair. Just like if you put into practice anything, you will get better. You'll get better. So but I just feel like it's the same thing with art. Like I don't think I'm good at art. I know I'm not good at art. But if I was doing art when I was a kid, I would be good at art. To some degree. I might not be better than this particular person, but I would be good if I put enough time and hours into it.
100%. Yeah. Love it. What would you be if you weren't a barber and if you didn't own that, your store? What would you be? What would Mark be as a profession, or in your what would your ambitions be?
I don't know what my ambitions right now in life would have been, because I don't know the direction my life would have gone into. But I do know that I've always been interested in marketing.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was called marketing when I was a kid, though. And, promotion and marketing, I didn't know, but I just looked back and realized that I was always pushing. And I was always like doing things, even as a kid, like with my youth center, when we're promoting like youth events. And I was kind of like organizing the event. And so I guess events management and marketing would be.
Wow.
Okay. I was organizing the events. I was promoting it. I was out on the streets by myself, telling people, hey, we got an event at this youth club, come. And I was doing all of that stuff there. And yeah, I just used to get even like when I used to MC when I was a kid. And
wait, you used to MC?
As a kid, but everyone MC'd as a kid. I feel like if you're over 30, maybe if you're over 30, if you're over 32, right?
Yeah.
You MC. At some stage, or you tried and failed.
What was your MC name?
Slider.
For real?
Yeah, that's what.
All right, come on. You've got to give me one of your lyrics.
What, from when I was 14 or something like that?
Yes.
I lived when I was at that age.
And what was it to? Was it to grime or garage?
It was garage. Started with garage.
Hey.
So when grime came in, it's kind of when I stopped. So I was there a little bit in the beginning.
Yeah.
But then I just stopped. I was about 18 and I just stopped. But
come on, give me a garage lyric.
A garage lyric. What was those lyrics like then? Why am I? I'm brain freeze.
Someone said 4 bars, please.
4 bars. I give you 4 bars from now, but from back then, the only thing is, I remember parts of lyrics, so I don't know the beginnings. I can give you part of a lyric. Which
anything. I just want to hear your flow.
Crews want to be the best, nevertheless. My style's hot, gonna infest, gonna progress. Set MC wanna test, get put to death and rest. Messing with the wickedest crew from Northwest. You're not ready for the lyrics that I spit. You're not ready for the lyrics that I spit. Ripping lyrics like bullets and leaving holes in clicks. You're not ready for the lyrics I spit. They're so hard, I make you feel you're getting hit by bricks.
Can we have a round of applause in the comments section? What? Come on, that is some hidden talent. Hey, Britain's got talent for real. I love it. All right, so you'd definitely be in marketing. I think one of the things that marketing and events. I think one of the things I love about you is you really took the idea of barbering and you brought it to that professional arena. Because barbering back in the day, I remember just going to get my hair cut. If I was calling up a barber, he wouldn't pick up his phone, or I'd get to the shop. He said he would be there on the Saturday morning. He didn't come till like 2 p.m.
Yeah.
So the professionalism around barbering wasn't there. But you are someone who has stood out because you've taken the arena that sometimes isn't really looked at with much respect, and you've made it a respectable art. Was there a light bulb moment where you said, you know what, I need to make this switch. I need to make it something respectable and professional.
You know what? There wasn't a light bulb moment. I always just saw it like that.
That's good, yeah.
So it wasn't kind of like suddenly I was 4 or 5 years in and I was like, actually, I need to do this. It was from when I started cutting hair professionally in like the barbershop, which was D&L's at the time, when I was 18, I always treated it like that. So, and it's just the way I work. So I went in there, I was there, I'd be there before like the manager would turn up waiting for the shop to open up, then go in. I'd stay there to the end of the day. Wow. I was working 7 days for that at that time. I would go into work before college. When college finished, I'd go back to work. And I just saw it as a business. So I've always said this, and it's sad to say this, to be very honest. And I'm not saying that even if the game was different, I wouldn't be as successful even further. But I always said, a lot of people in the industry made my excelling a lot easier because I wasn't doing anything which was like mind-boggling or mind blowing. Like if I'm turning up when I say I'm going to be there, that's not something that should be. And I've said this, to be honest, that's not something that should be praised. Yeah. That I'm on time, that's not something to be praised. What that I say if I'm running late, I say sorry, I'm running late. That's not something to be praised. This should be a standard. you know, and the fact that what you call it, people praise it shows the state of the industry we're in, which means it's not actually a good thing, because I'm getting elevated and praised for very basic, very basic elementary things. You know, I praise my son who's 3 years old, because I'm, you know, when he does something like he's been very polite, and, you know, he's like, you know, thank you, or please can I blah blah blah, and I'm like, good boy, you know, because he's learning. You know, but I'm not going to be praising him for doing this when he's 20.
It's true. It's true. No, I like that. No, it's true. And I think I remember watching a video, and you were talking about, especially in your masterclass, about how, you know, those elements, like you said, made it easier. You having a website made it easier for you to excel, because, I know where I can find slider carts. I know what time. I know where he's going to be. And I think these are elements that a lot of people entering into this kind of arena, if they can adopt, it can become the norm. And then when it becomes the norm, then we can move to the next level where we're moving in even, you know, greater excellence.
Oh, definitely. And I didn't even know at the time I was, you could say, quote unquote, heading up the game. So even when I started my website, I never even thought, oh, well, there's loads of, I didn't realize that nearly everybody didn't have a website. But I had such tunnel vision. I was just like, I'm a business. So I remember it's being like, businesses have websites. I need a website. And I didn't even think, oh, well, no barbershops have websites. You know, none of these other shops have websites. I was just like, I'm a business, I need a website. And my first website was so basic. It was one page with barely no information in it. It says slider cuts. It had my number. I'm not even sure, I might have had the email address and had the address where I worked. And that was it. But I got a lot of business from that one page because no other barbers had websites. So people knew where to reach me.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. How did you kind of branding yourself? No, not branding yourself, but taking on that professional manner. How did it get you the type of clientele where you had celebs calling you and everything, and you were cutting big people's names? Because that is a big thing to trust somebody with. Your hair, especially for the artists, especially someone who is on the front line, calling you to cut their hair. How did that happen? And who was your first person?
The first celebrity I ever cut was Richard Blackwood.
Wow.
When I was about 9. No, I was 19. I was
19.
18 or 19. I wasn't ready, but I was 18 or 19. Shout out Richard. I remember I was still in college.
Wow.
And I didn't want to cut his hair because I was nervous and I didn't think I was ready. And the barbers that normally cut his hair weren't in. So he's like, all right, you do it.
Wow.
I was like, you know what?
And you obviously knew who he was.
Of course I do. Back then, everyone knew who Richard Blackwood was. Richard Blackwood was like the Will Smith of you know, the UK at that time, right? So everyone knew Richard Blackwood. I knew Richard Blackwood. He'd come and got his haircut with the other barbers. It's just that day they weren't in. So he was just like, you do it. And I said, they're going to be in tomorrow, you know? He's like, no, you can do it. You can do it. I said,
wow.
you should just wait because, you know, I was trying to give all the excuses so he wouldn't cut with me, but he was just like, don't worry, you got this. You've seen him do it, right? I was like, yeah. He goes, yeah, don't worry, you got this. So I just spent time sweating within myself, trying to get this right, because he was getting like this low drop fade before anybody was doing it in the UK. So I got to get to Richard Blackwood. He was the first one doing that fade. Like, so it's kind of like it's all dark here and it's skin faded there, and it's just like, oh, I'm looking at it, this is a madness. And I'm like,
wow.
You know, so yeah, he was the first. Richard was cool as well because obviously he wasn't as good as the other barbers, but he tipped me. He was like, thank you. He was like, you know, see, I told you you can do it. He goes, make sure, you know, when people come in and ask for this fade, you charge them extra because it takes a bit longer. You know, so he was really nice about it, you know. And he was supportive, so he didn't make me feel a certain way, even though he knows it wasn't as good as the other barbers, but he was still kind of like appreciating the fact that I was cutting his hair. So that was good. That's good confidence for a young barber.
Definitely. How did that then lead on to other like well-known figures?
Well, first of all, it was the barber in front of me, Damon. He was cutting all these celebrities and like football players. So whenever he wasn't available,
Damon from Cut the Chat.
Yes, Damon from Cut the Chat. Yeah.
Okay.
So whenever he wasn't available, like he'd gone on holiday, they would come to me. And the funny thing is, his clients would come to me even though I wasn't better than the other barber next to me, which is Frankie. Frankie was not even a little bit better than me. Frankie was, he was so far ahead I couldn't see him.
Wow.
You know, but it's what happens in relationships is kind of like, because they see me working next to him, and because I was always involved in conversations, people were comfortable with me. So it's kind of like, oh, you do it. You know, even though there's a better barber, sometimes I'd be like, you know, Frankie, you can do it. You know, but I guess like, you do it. But people just, and I just understand, and that's one of the first things I learned in the industry. It's not always even about who's the best. It's about how comfortable people feel with you. So people say, if people see that I've got a good relationship and good vibe with you, people will come to you, even though those two are better than you.
Definitely.
There's just something subconscious that makes you say, no, I'm going to cut with you. So some of the football players and stuff like that, he was on holiday, I'd be cutting them. And I was kind of like, for quite a bit in the shadow of Damon, which wasn't an issue to be in the shadow of Damon, because I shouldn't have been in front of Damon because he was clear cut. I couldn't, you know, he was so far ahead as well. I couldn't see him either. So it was kind of like, oh, Damon can't do it, you do it. And so I was doing those type of things. I think when I came out of the shadows of, like, when I mean the shadows, I'm talking about they're coming to Damon, but Damon can't do it, so I'm doing it. You know, the first kind of celebrities after that, which actually came to me to cut their hair, was there's probably going to be a few which I'm forgetting. There'll be like Plan B. I remember Plan B. I got off my own back. You know Plan B?
Yeah.
But he was coming to me for a little bit. You know, this kind of, like, you could say, like, people I just kind of knew growing up sometimes, you know, like people you know growing up, and now they've kind of made it, but you cut their hair, you know, but you just know them anyway, but they've blown up. And then I remember cutting this guy, he's called Pops Mensah. He's a basketball player. He was playing for, I think, the Houston Rockets at the time. He's from London. He's from Tottenham originally.
Wow.
But he got a scholarship in America.
Nice.
And I cut him randomly one day, just in a shop. He just came in and waited. And I cut him, and he was tall, dark, and had, you know, kind of an American accent. So I was like, I was cutting him, I was like, you look like you could be a basketball player. I didn't even think, actually, I just thought, you're tall, you know, American accent. But I just cut his hair. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't know anything. I didn't even know who he was. Then I remember he came back a year later, literally a year later, because he was, in his off season, he was coming back to see his family. And then I cut him. And I just asked him, like, he came to me now he's waiting for me because he liked the haircut I gave him the last time. And he's just like, I cut him. I was like, he's like, you know, what are you doing over here? And this and that. And he's just like, oh, I come see my family. I actually play basketball out in America. And I was like, okay, cool. So every year when he came back, he came to me. And then when the Olympics came over to London, he gave me the call to cut the basketball team. And that's when I cut LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, and the rest of them. And that came from him. You know, so this is the kind of the point when I started getting really
into your groove.
Yeah, and getting approach for me, just kind of like just cutting. And yeah, and the reason why they came is because, one, obviously they like their haircuts. Two, the professionalism. You know, the fact, you know, 9 o'clock, we'll meet in the morning, being polite to them. All of those things there that they really like. So that's kind of where it kind of really, you could say, started. And to be honest, I always forget off the top of my head a lot of the people which I've cut. So I know there's loads of people in between which I'm actually forgetting about. But just an overview to some degree. And I started getting into my groove. And then also what happened to another jump was when social media came out. I just started, like, when Instagram came out, let me just say social media. When Instagram came out, I was posting a lot of pictures on Instagram. And then this is when now celebrities started just seeing me. And the reason was because I was posting so much, I didn't know how the algorithm worked. I didn't know people were seeing it, but there was a lot of people now just seeing my page. My pictures were coming up on their Explorer page.
Yes, yeah.
You know, so I remember, like, Anthony Joshua, he saw my Instagram.
Wow.
That's how I started cutting his hair. He saw my Instagram.
Nice.
But he was watching it for a while before he like reached out to get a haircut from me.
Nice.
So, but he wasn't following me. He was just watching me. Same thing with Reggie Yates. But Reggie Yates, funny enough, he saw my page flash up on his Explorer page and saw we had a couple mutual friends to some degree. Not mutual friends, mutual people we know. and he saw the haircuts a few times. Then he followed me, and he followed me for 6 months. And then so I remember seeing him follow me, and I was like, why is Reggie following me? Like, why is Reggie following me? But he's following me, but And then like 6 months later, he sent me an email. I was like, yeah, can I come get a haircut?
Crazy.
Cool. And Tiny Temple, same thing. He was watching my page for months before he reached out for it to get a haircut. And this is why I always said to people, you're always in an interview. Whether you know it or not, you are always in an interview.
Yeah.
And the most important interviews are the interviews when you don't know you're in an interview.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is testament to, like, Anthony Joshua was interviewing me for months while he's watching me, my professionalism, my haircuts. Same thing with Reggie Yates, same thing with Tiny Temple. They're watching it. And also, with Tiny LSA and Anthony Joshua especially, I don't even know they're interviewing me. I could have failed the interview.
Yeah.
So, and that made me think to myself, how many people have watched my page and not liked me or not liked my haircut and said, no, I'm not I'm not going to cut him because I don't like his haircuts, which is fair enough. And then when you're always in the interview. And I remember, like, I cut Nelly one time, right? And I'm not actually name dropping. I'm just talking the story. I cut Nelly one time, right?
Talk your things.
And when I was like, he sat in a chair, and I was like, okay, yeah, so what do you want done? And he said to me, so I saw this haircut on your page, and he went onto Instagram, and he's like, I saw this haircut on your page, right? Yesterday, he goes to the one, he's scrolling through, and he's scrolling through, and in my head, I'm like, you were on my page yesterday, watching my haircuts, looking at my haircuts.
This is crazy.
You're interviewing me, and I passed.
Yeah.
So I was like, you're always in an interview, and, so when you're putting yourself out there, I heard loads of people say things like, well, you can't judge me by it's social media. And it's like, of course people can. You're the one who's putting it out. It's, if somebody else was putting out content about you, you could say, don't judge me on that content because
that's somebody else.
Someone else is putting it out there. They're twisting it. They're putting out what they want to put out. But if you're putting out the content, then what are people supposed to judge you by?
Yeah. 100%.
This is what you're choosing to put out there. You want this out there, whether it's silly memes, jokes, professionalism, whatever it is. You're choosing to put it out there. People, of course, are going to judge it. What more could people judge you on than the things you're putting out of yourself?
Yeah.
So so it's like I just really always think about that. You're always in an interview. So, and I always have the saying, which I say, the person you want to be when the right person is around needs to be the person you become, period.
All the time, yeah. Definitely. Say it again for them.
The person you want to be when the right person is around needs to be the person you become, period.
Period, yeah, 100%. And I think you did that, whether, I don't know if it's knowingly or unknowingly, but the professionalism in which you used to approach this industry from the beginning meant that you were already in a form of habit. And Instagram came, but even if Instagram didn't come, you still would have been in that space. And it just so happens that attitude, that mentality collided with Instagram, collided with social media, and then collided with these people, well-known people, seeing your work ethic, seeing that mentality and saying, you know what, I want that. And like you said, 6 months. And Reggie was watching 6 months. Oh, no, say Anthony. So it was 6 months. That's 6 months of saying, like you said in the beginning, can I trust this slider cuts guy with my hair? Let me wait another month. Let me wait another month. And you could have stopped. You could have said, you know what, this page is not doing anything, and stop posting. But for 6, so this again talks to persistence and just believing in your craft and believing in what you're doing, because somebody out there is watching. Somebody out there is watching.
They're interviewing you.
100%. Let's see. So I wanted to talk about, first of all, just big up everyone that's joined us for this live. So much gems just being dropped. Can you put some gems in the comment section? I just want to know that you're here, and I just want to thank you for joining us. Mark has just given us some gems.
Shout out Tyrone. 100 meters. He was a 100 meter sprinter. I was cutting him as well. He's another guy. Like he was running for the GB. He was running for Olympics for the GB, and I was cutting his hair when he was coming back from America. But I was cutting his hair actually because he went to my school. He was like about 4 years older than me in secondary school. And I used to look up to him as well because he used to go to the running club next to my house. And I remember when I was younger, I started going to the running club, and I remember he like, that's the guy, like, he's the fast one.
He's the fast one. 100 meters. I want to ask you. Let me see. Yes. So you're barbering, but and big up my barber Diallo.
Big up Diallo.
He talked about how his dream was to have his own shop. For you, I sort of following your journey. There were different points where I thought Slider already had a shop, his own shop. But for you, was there was it intentional in making it wait that long? Was there a specific place that you wanted?
No.
No.
What happened with that was, I'm going to just be honest about it. I had subconscious views to want to open up my own shop. I always thought kind of like it'd be good to open up my own shop. But I had this thing which I was like, you know what? No, because I'm loyal to the shop which I'm in.
Wow.
So I always saw it as, whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to do in the shop which I'm in, which is DNL's at the time. So it was, I've been in my shop for like a year and a half now. So we're talking about 4 years ago, 4 years, let's say around 4 years ago, right? I came to a place where I said, actually, I'm going to open up my own shop. And the reason was because I was like, I feel like I can open up my own shop. I've got all these views and things which are how I want a shop to run. And I can't do it in somebody else's shop because it's not anything like devious. It's just, or anything bad. It's someone else's shop. It's just like when people move out their parents' house because, they get sick and tired of the fact that your mom or your dad's telling you, be home at this time and switch off the lights and turn the volume down on the TV and why you could be so late and whatever it is, right? And you get to the point where you're like, actually, I want my own space now to do the things which I will 100%. Do. Or if you might not care and just be like, cool, I can follow those rules because I don't actually really care, But for me, I was just like, I really want to have my own space because I had this passion of the way I wanted the shop to run, and I couldn't do it in somebody else's shop. So I decided I was going to, and the reason why I decided I was going to, because before that I was like, when people used to say it to me, like, I'm talking about from like 10, 12 years ago, people used to say it to me, like, oh, when you open up your own shop, And I was like, nah, because I saw I had this loyalty to the shop, which I came to realize was, I had a misconception of what loyalty was. So my idea of what loyalty was actually holding me back, because I just kind of thought, well, this is where I stay. This is where I built up this place. That's the way it's supposed to be. Because I had this misconception, and I realized that actually you can be loyal to someone, but don't be stupidly loyal. Because, and what I mean stupidly, and make it clear, when I say stupidly, I'm not talking about the shop. There's anything wrong with the shop. Or like the shop DNLs are doing anything wrong in the slightest. I'm talking about, it was just my idea of being like, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. And I just felt like I just couldn't do it. Then a few things happened, and I realized actually, of course I'm gonna put my own shop. Like why not? And I just said straight away, told the owners straight away when I decided to do it, which was like 4 years ago, like about 3 years before I left, I told the owners, told the management, told everybody. I was part manager anyway. Told everyone I'm going to open up my own shop, and made it clear. We had talks and things like that. But from that point there, what made it so long for me to open up my own shop was I was trying to find the right location, and I just didn't want to just go and open up a shop anywhere just for the sake of opening up. I was like, no. I had a vision of where I wanted it to be. Had to have parking outside. Had to be near a station. Had to have loads of buses that come around there. Had to be around an area that had loads of like the customers which I would be cutting, but not be in the area of these customers. I had these specific things of where it had to be. So there were loads of available places, but they weren't the right places. I had to think about the type of clientele which I have coming there, and had to say, okay, would they come here? Would this be a comfortable environment? There's all of these different things, and that's why it took 3 years basically before at that point when I made that decision to get the shop. So the reason why before that, which a lot of people started thinking, why have you, got not your own shop, or is this your own shop? And the reason why I wasn't doing it at the time was just because I just felt, I kind of felt bad. I was thinking, no, you can't do that. No, you don't do that. And then I realized, no, there's nothing actually wrong with that. No one has to stay under anybody forever. You can. It's not even a bad thing. You can work for someone forever. But that's the thing with me as well. The issue wasn't working for someone. Because here's the thing with me. I haven't got an issue. Like if you know me, if you ask my wife, if you ask people around me, I haven't got an issue with authority. Like I haven't even got the issue even like I never had an issue with working with other people. It was more so for me that I had this vision of the way I wanted the shop to run, and how I felt it should be, and look, and all of these different things, right? And at the same time, I built up this brand, and I had all these. So I was doing things that you could say shops would do, and that's when you started realizing that when you call it, you're leaking.
Yeah.
It's because even though you're being a worker, you're leaking because you're actually doing things that shops people do, which I didn't realize. You're on a website. No, most barbershops haven't got it. Or solo barbers ain't got it. You're doing clothing, saying Slider cuts on it.
Oh yeah.
Just various things. You're doing events. You're just doing all these things. Then it's like, right, you're actually leaking. So you're actually suppressing. I'm actually suppressing myself, and that's why I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna open up a shop.
Tell me about that culture that you were desperately trying to create. What is the barbershop culture of slider cuts? If I was to come to a slider cuts studio right now, what would I experience, and what were you trying to get me to experience?
It would be community, banter, laughter, jokes, all that kind of stuff there. All that kind of stuff there, which you get in a lot of black barbershops anyway. You get the community, you get the banter, you get the kind of like the dissing, two people having a cussing match,
Oh man, it is. Sometimes you're in the chair, I'm in the chair, I'm getting cut. I do need to go somewhere, but this banter, this conversation, this football argument, for example, is just too funny. But like you were mentioning, it's all part of that experience.
And I wanted all of that still, but I wanted it with a very PG stamp put onto it. Because I always felt that, one, the barbershop is the hub of the community, but also because we cut, so there's loads of things, I'm going to say some of the things, just a few things. Because we cut like kids from when they're young to when they get older, like people in the community respect us. Whether you're on the roads or you're a banker, you're the postman, you sweep the streets, whatever you are, people in the community just respect us, right? So I always thought, why are we not using that respect we have and the influence we have to actually affect change within our communities? So I always saw the barbershop as somewhere where we could actually be mentors and teachers in our community. Instead of us just going along with the culture and the current, flow of the way things are going, why can't we be the change? So, for example, when someone comes into the shop and you're 13 years old or 14 years old, why do you need to hear, I was banging this girl yesterday, then my girl caught me and this and that? Why do you need to hear that? Why can't you actually hear it instead, actually, I love my girl and we're getting married? Why can't that be the conversation they're hearing? Or why can't they hear, as example, actually I'm going to university and I'm happy because I'm going to, get a first. Why can't that be the conversation they hear? Why can't they hear instead, oh yeah, I'm going for a job interview. Yeah, I got turned down, but I'm just going to keep going. Or why can't they see us being like, okay, do you know what? You need some money. Yeah, hold that. That's for your travel, blah, 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 whatever it is. Why can't people see this? Why can't they see successful people that are not on the roads? And furthermore, to take it further, why can't they see successful people that are not in entertainment or sports? and those people kind of bigged up. And those people bigged up in a sense, you're seeing them and you're having conversations and you're bringing those conversations out of people. So I was kind of like the same environment of what a barbershop has, but I just wanted to spin it where it's kind of like, when you come in here, if you are like a parent and you leave your 12-year-old son here, you feel comfortable. You're not going to feel like he or she's going to come out and be like, what's a blah, blah, blah? What's a blah, blah, blah? What's a dotty this or whatever it is, because whatever it is, but you're going to feel comfortable with having someone in that environment. And I just kind of thought, why can we not just influence the community in the correct way to help them and raise them up? Because at the end of the day, even if you're up to badness, why do you want the next generation to be up to badness? Because loads of people say, I only do it because I have to. And you know what? That's a whole different conversation, right? But if you are, why are you glorifying it? And why are you influencing the next generation to do that? Because what you should be doing is like, actually, I've done this, but I don't want them to do that. So furthermore, I'm going to hide that from them. they don't even need to know. They don't even need to know about that because I don't want them to go down this road. So that, for me, those were the key things where just kind of like, let's help them out. And that's the reason as to why I've got like programs like Philip, like the runner scheme, where it's kind of like we hire young boys between the age of 13 and 16. We let them pay them, mentor them, let them sweep up, bank money, do stock checks, all of these different things, right? Because I'm kind of give right back, as well as Philip. Philip is a scheme which is just kind of like, you can come in if you need help with a form, job application, college application, we'll help you with it. You don't pay, you don't need to pay. We don't need to post it. You don't need to post it. You don't have to be a customer of the shop. You don't ever have to get your hair cut. And we don't even have to talk about it. So it's not like, okay, we've done that for you now, so make sure you post it on Instagram. No, you don't need to do anything. We will just help you with the form. And this is what it was for me, like knowing the power of the black barbershop. And, you know, and I say the black barbershop just because the black barbershop, everyone knows who comes from that type of environment. It's like a community center. You know, it's one of the few spaces where, you know, black people actually congregate. It's just like kind of like the working class white man and the pub, or, you know, or the you know, or the middle class white man and, you know, the members club. You know, I felt like with black people, this was kind of like their members club. This was their pub. This was, you know, like the Turkish people have their snooker halls. If you come from around like
Tottenham, there's like lanes. Oh, he's frozen up. I'll wait for him to come back. I think he's frozen up a bit. Oh, my freeze. All right, what I'll do, guys, let me come back on. Cool, let me do that again.
I'm not sure what happened. It just
you just cut out.
It just said, no, it came up, the screen just said, thank you for joining us.
Wow.
Like the live was over. I was like, okay.
But you were saying that, it's like it's its own community center.
It's community center, you know, every community and different cultures have their own community centers, you know, so the barber, you know, the black barbershop was that space, and especially where loads of youth centers have been closed down, you know, the barbershop's importance has even as elevated because those youth centers aren't there no more. So, you know, they haven't got these youth workers which are talking to them every week, which I remember when I was younger, I was in the youth center, and, you know, the youth center youth leaders would talk to you and say, you know, what you're doing, this and that, whatever it is. And now that's removed. It's like, well, now the importance has even gone up. So I was just like, for me, the barbershop was more than giving good haircuts, you know, but just being an influential space, a comfortable space you can come talk, vibe, do all the banter, do the football arguments, all that kind of stuff there, you know, but also to really help the community.
Awesome, man. How do you, practical way, how do you make that a culture? So in terms of your team, what is it that you say to your team, or how do you instruct your team about their day-to-day kind of going on of the shop? Is there certain rules in place? Are there certain things you put in place?
There's rules. Before you even come to the shop, there's a like a, not a rule book, but it's kind of like a side of cuts book, you know, when you're joining the team.
Nice.
All the things we expect, you know, from your etiquette to your behavior to everything, you know, like no swearing, you know, no music. Wow. We don't play no music with swearing in it. We don't even play, my thing is we don't even play any music that's even like with any badness. That's my whole thing is. So I don't care to hear the edited version of music. Just we play music that doesn't have any of that in it, full stop. You know, that's why most of the time we're playing gospel in the shop.
Okay, yeah.
You know, but my thing is, how can I be in a position where I'm here talking to all the youth, stop doing this, stop doing that, then in the background I've got, we could stab this, kill that, bun this, bun that, you know, and I'm not saying that suddenly if I'm telling the youth that and they're hearing that in the background, suddenly they're going to be like, oh, you're a hypocrite. But for me, it's kind of like a 360, creating a whole environment that is leaning towards that goal of what I'm trying to do. You know, from some of the smaller things to some of the bigger things. You know, so just kind of like, and then we have meetings, you know, like kind of like monthly meetings where it's kind of like, you know, I also talk one-on-one to people. If I see people slacking in certain things, I talk to them one-on-one and just like, listen, you need to stop doing that. And ultimately, it's come to the point where you just have to be willing to let go of people. if you don't want to follow this way, the way which I'm doing things, then it's kind of like, well, you don't need to be here. You can go be in a barber shop where they let you do all of those things there, but that won't be tolerated in this shop.
Yeah, yeah. If you are part of the Slider Cuts team, can I get I want some scissors in the comment section. We salute you because you've got the man, but there's a team that makes that possible.
Yeah, the team, 100%. There's loads of us.
How is, okay, what's the time on the Rolex? All right, we've got about 45. Okay, so a few more questions. Oh, I've got so much on our shit. Okay, how have you found, because you've won loads of awards.
Yeah.
You've had massive campaigns with Facebook. How is black barbering seen outside the community circle? What is the perception of black barbering that you've seen? I
think it's weird because I've been working from 18. I've got kind of glimpses of it, but I worked in one shop till I got my own shop, so I don't fully know, but I know from what other people say. So I know the black barbershop from the outside is seen as, to be fair, let's be very honest about it, from the outside and the inside, it's seen as, if you make an appointment, your barber might not be there. If it's especially if it's the morning, your barber might not just be coming in. Barbers are rude. The barber's always right. The barber does what he wants in my hair. I mean, I'm just being real about the kind of the things that people are always saying, and that's why. And I got this from people being like, oh, really, like, you're polite, like that's something to be elevated, and I'm like, that's not something to be really elevated because we're supposed to be polite, we're supposed to be, but there's things where it's kind of like, the barber's never wrong, the kind of like, the barber does what he wants. It's just like, this is kind of how it's kind of seen, as well as it's seen as kind of like a really real community space, and it's seen as kind of like a second home or third home. And look, people put up with loads of stuff because they still love the environment and stuff like that, but they do still kind of like, it's just seen as a place which is just not professional. That's what I think that's how it's just seen. It's not seen as, it's not professional, but you build up such a bond with your barber / barbers, you just excuse it because it becomes like family. So your brothers and your sister can get away with some very rude things because they're family with other people you'd cut off. It's like, I'm not even dealing with you. And I think that's how the barbershop has been, where it's been like, you annoy me on that side, but you're family. But you're family.
I remember I had a barber like years ago, and before I found my barber, and he would make me wait. He would say come at 2, I'll be there at 10 to 2. I wouldn't get cut to 2:45, but then he would answer calls in between the haircut. But the calls would take 10 minutes each time. And so I'm thinking, I got somewhere to go, but where am I going to go? You're my barber. Like you said, there is that kind of ball and chain that you have with your barbers. And even, in the kind of in a colloquial way, sometimes when we talk about it, like, you cheating on your barber. Oh my gosh, you can't get cut by another barber. But I think if we can make, like you said, if we can make it a standard across the board, nothing to be seen as lofty, but it's just a standard of professionalism across the board, it gives us as customers an even more amazing experience. And then I'm not chained to you because I have to. I am chained or loyal to you because I want to be. And I remember you saying that in your masterclass, that any person that is saying that, oh, I'm loyal to you just for the sake of the haircut, you don't want them. I want you to come to me because you want to actually come to me. The service I provide is the service, that you want. Yeah,
I've always said that. I've always said to people, I don't want you to come with me because you feel you have to be loyal to me. Come to me because you want it, because you want to be with me. If you don't want to be with me, don't be with me. Go to another barber in my shop. I have no issue with that, because if you don't do that, then you're only doing a disjustice to me. And the reason why is because I don't see my flaws. So I'm going to keep going that way. And then slowly I'm going to be kind of like going on a downward spiral and not even realize why, because people can't tell me. So I would rather, you just highlight it quickly to me, or, bounce so I know there's something wrong. But also the other issue with a lot of barbers is they just always blame the customer. Where for me, I've always seen business as, if any customer ever leaves you or is not happy with a service, I've done something wrong.
It's you.
Even if I wouldn't change what I've done, I've still done something wrong for that customer to leave, because even if it's the fact that they say, oh, you don't swear, I wouldn't change that, but I have done something wrong as to why that customer doesn't want to be in my chair, because he or she would be more comfortable with that. And I think in business, you should always look at things that way. Just look at yourself and say, what was it? And say, okay, oh, I'm too busy. I'm not going to change being busy, but that's the reason why you left, so that's my fault. Or it might be my haircuts aren't good enough. So that's why they left, because my haircuts aren't good enough. So, you know, there are some reasons I've always said people will leave me for positive reasons, but there'll be negative reasons why people will leave me as well. But it's good to just accept whatever it is.
Yeah, that's true. July 4th, whoop, whoop, July 4th, Slider Cuts is back in session. The shop is opening. How, I don't know how it must have been for barbers in this period of time. And you yourself holding a shop, but also having employees. How are you now preparing for opening? And secondly, the onslaught of people that are going to be coming. It's almost like it's a good problem, but it's a problem that has to be managed in line with the regulations and restrictions. How is Slider Cuts preparing for that? Because it can't be easy.
You know what? This lockdown has changed my mindset on things. So the Slider Cuts from 3-4 months ago is not the Slider Cuts now.
Wow.
So this time has made me like appreciate a lot more things. Like I've spent every day with my children. My wife's been working, so every day has been me and my kids for like 3 months, and I've enjoyed it. And I'm not even saying that for like, because it's good to say, oh, you spent time, you enjoyed time with your kids, because I know plenty of people have said to me their kids are getting to them, but I've actually enjoyed watching them grow and the connection and all that stuff there. So I've now got a mindset of like, I will do what I can, but I'm not breaking my neck. There's been people which have been calling me over the last few days. I'm just not picking up. And I'm just, to be very honest, I'm not that bothered, because it's like, I'm out with my kids all day. What I'm supposed to be on my phone booking appointments, because I've got a booking system, because you got to my appointment system late. So it was all booked up. And before I would be like, okay, I'll find something, I'll make it happen. And I'll be like, no joke. And this is actually no joke. 2 o'clock in the morning. I remember I used to wake up twice a night to carry on appointments. So I sleep, do my appointments and that, sleep. I wake up about 2 o'clock in the morning, do some more stuff. I might wake up about 4, do some more stuff. Then I, you know, if I start, let's say 7, I'll be up at like 5:36. Or if I start at 5, then I'm, you know, up at 4. And I just like, I put so much time, which is good, because this is what made the business, into the customers and focusing so much on the customers. I'm like, cool, I've done that. But now I'm not going to spend my whole life on the phone. I'm not going to spend my whole life just thinking about customers. You know, sometimes I have to come to the point where it's like, you know, customers, you're calling me. Here's the thing, I put out a newsletter to all my existing customers before Instagram came. I put it out on Instagram saying the booking system is getting open tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I'm having people message me 2 days later saying, oh yeah, can you book me in? I'm like, so you didn't go for this, so you didn't go to books because you just thought, oh, he would just do it. So I'm just like, you know what? You lost out. I'm not even picking up. I'm not even looking at their messages. I'm not picking up the calls. I'm just like, no. And even now when I go back, I'm working less hours now, because I'm no longer working Tuesdays, because also, especially what's a good thing that came out of this time was my wife has had a lot more time to focus on her career, and her career is booming. So now I'm taking an extra day off so she can do her work, you know, because we've got kids. My youngest son is 1 year old. So now we have to, you know, divide our time so we can both feed our careers. It can't just be me feeding my career, you know. So I won't be working on Tuesdays no more. So she can work Tuesdays because she's a freelance artist, so she can do her work as well. And it's just going to be like, I will still do what I can for people, but it's kind of like where I was willing to go before, I'm not willing to go anymore.
I love that. And I think a lot of people have said from the lockdown, so much has come out from it. Like, obviously, there are things that we miss, but there are points of reflection that are leading us into after the lockdown. And I think for you, especially because you're doing so well, but there's only so far you can go if you don't tinker with what you're talking about now. Because you can skyrocket and everything go amazingly well, and your children just be there, and your wife just be there, and those elements not kind of cater to. But I think now you're tinkering with these things and putting yourself first. It's important. But also what I say is, I was always spending a lot of time with my kids though.
I'll say that's something I never, because I used to bring my son to work with me. I used to finish half day on Saturdays to go with my children, or my son when it's just my son. Sundays and Mondays, on my days off, even if I was cutting hair, I'd always bring my son with me wherever I was going. You know, I would take my son to school. So I would start work at 5 a.m. Then I'd finish at 7 a.m. Come home, get my son ready, wash his teeth, whatever it is, and that, then take him to nursery and go back to work. Then I'd pick him up from nursery, let's say at 5, 8 p.m. You know, go pick him up, come back to work, and then carry on working with him. So I've always fully integrated him. But what I've done, when people ask me, how do I manage all these things, I just said, I just sacrifice sleep. That's why I just don't sleep.
You just don't sleep. Something's got to give, something. How important has your wife been as a support through everything from whenever you met and all the way through the rise of slider cuts? How important has she been as your partner?
Oh, it's really important, because what I'd say is, I can't put it fully into words, but I just know there are other people in life I could be with, and I don't think I'd be as far as I've been now, because your home life affects your output in the wider world. You know, if you've got so much trauma, which, you know, we all have like issues in relationships and stuff like that. It's not like it's perfect and there's no arguments or anything like that. But if your home life isn't stable, it's hard to be producing fruit outside of that, because it's almost like these are the seeds, you know, that are being watered and is growing for everybody else to see. So my wife, has been vital, because also on like practical levels, you know, she's an artist. She's helped me with she designed my logo. She, before I had any PAs or anything like that, she was helping me out with things I had to write up, invoicing people and all these different things, right? You know, contacting companies for this and that. So she was helping me out with that on a practical level. But outside of the actual physical, practical level of things, having someone who actually wants you to succeed, because not every relationship you're in where the person actually wants you to succeed, or they want you to grow, you know, whether that's subconscious or consciously, they're doing that. So having that means that kind of like shows in the way they talk to you and the things they do for you, the way they're willing to help you. These things all show if they've got a character and an attitude of someone who actually wants to see you build. My wife said to me from like when I met her 10, 11 years ago, she's the one who said to me first, oh, why don't you have your own barbershop? Why don't you have, you know, so yeah, so I feel like she's been vital, even if there's loads of things you can't pinpoint. It's kind of like it's almost like it's all there.
All encompassing, 100%.
Yeah.
We've got 1 minute 59. Okay, in one sentence, how would you like to be remembered?
I don't know. But
are you using your pass card?
No. What I'm going to say, I don't know. What I would say is what I want to leave is more so what I'd say, which would be, first of all, I want to pass on physical things to my children. I want to pass on knowledge. I want to actually pass on things to give them a head start in life. And I guess I would want people to. I guess I'd want to. I don't know. It sounds egotistical to be remembered somewhere. I guess I would like to leave, almost you could say, a legacy where people saw that I helped other people.
Wow.
And they copy that and do even more. So I don't know if I need to be remembered, but if people take that and do it, even if I'm not remembered, then, you know, the seed is still growing.
Nice. That is beautiful. Bro, thank you so much for joining me on this live. It's talking to me and it's saying I've got 55 seconds. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly just end this, but just start another one just to give you your prize, and then take any 1-2 questions that anyone has. Is that okay?
Yeah, we can Q&A if you want to.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, guys, I'm going to end this one and then jump on the next one just so we have more time. All right, 2 secs. See you in a bit. 21 questions. Mark McIver, let's go.